Last session we had a few random little adventures around town, approaching the actual hide of the goblins that you all tracked down from the week before. Everybody made their way to the goblin hide, kind of did the cursory investigation into it, killed the guards, killed a few of their pets, and then started to move in before, sort of as things turned a little bit more south. The kind of sad part about being level 1 is it usually really only takes about a hit, knock any given person down. So that kind of moved everything back where people had to take serious looks at the viability of progressing forward and the dangers therein. We ended up pulling back, not really finding a solid place to rest along the actual path from the goblins. Everybody took the night in Phandalin, kind of recouped a little bit of a thought as what other viable options there might be. Um, Speaking predominantly with Gariel and then a few of the locals like the Stone Hills, who are the innkeepers. And essentially we moved back out and were attacked on the road out of Phandalin by a bunch of Bloodhawks. And that led to a near party wipe. Once everybody was unconscious, they pretty much flew off and leaving you all alone. Um, Likely to have kind of invaded where they were nesting, or at least disturbed them. Um, want to say it was Yastin who awoke uh, as everybody kind of lay unconscious and was able to stabilize people and keep most of the party alive. Um, and again, one of the weird things that I might have to do more of is actually being the person who rolls the death saving throws, because it was sort of awkward how I had it being done, because you really don't see that difference in who's dying and who's not. Um, and I think a lot of why um, Bronte actually died was predominantly because Yassin actually went for, I want to say he stabilized Edrin first, who had actually naturally stabilized. Could be wrong just how I'm summarizing that, but
No, I think
that,
that sounds right.
all right, yeah. And then it was pretty much in the last few moments that it was kind of looking over to Ty and Bront in the same moment, just kind of questioning who should I go forward with trying to save and who do I need to kind of put off for another moment. And he was able to stabilize Ty, and we kind of played it off that the random attack from Bront, which was what knocked Yastin down, was enough that he kind of ignored the body and then looted very quickly, taking everything from the body of Bront. And we basically left off with Yastin kind of in the middle of like semi wilderness outside of Phandalin, more or less like tucked off in the woods, guarding over the unconscious bodies of his friends. So we will kind of pick back up with everybody essentially inside of Phandalin that next day. Kind of just random little thing. I am going to send out another PayPal notice here, but if everybody can send their payments for me, um, we'll kind of hop in. Ooh, Watermelon is saying something.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm like completely new to this, but I'd like to start. I'm just completely new, to be honest, and so I really want to like find out more about this.
Definitely designed around a beginner campaign. Jumping through character creation is certainly a rush in the last moment, but from here on out, I believe this campaign is designed for solving that very issue, so feel free to ask any questions as you get to them. Otherwise, we can go into more information after today's session about anything else that you might have questions with.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with like a simple character, like you mentioned before, just Guy Garcon, just a cleric, you know, simple backstory. He felt that in a past life he was evil, and so now in this life he wants to be good. And that's it.
Oh, this might have us at 5 of 6 players, and we'll just be missing Ty for the day. I'm not sure if Watermelon is fully ready, but I believe she will be. But otherwise, we're kind of just going to hop in Phandalin The party of three will be returning, and I think what we'll end up doing is kind of having the other folks, essentially with Lady Gariel in the Temple of Tymora, the ruined temple inside of Phandalin. For those of you who are, well, I'd rather wait for Watermelon to actually describe things, but otherwise, Phandalin is essentially a ruined, very like flagstone town. It is a frontier town with little bits of clear new construction. At most, some of the homes were settled within a few years, but most everything is very old flagstone foundations that have essentially been rebuilt up with like new hewn wood structures kind of laid on top of the old foundations. So many of these locations are kind of a half construction of wood and a half construction of stone, with a lot of kind of clear signs that this is a new settlement and it is the new resettling of this location with humans in something that's quite ancient and lost. Pretty much everybody would kind of know and understand that while this location is between larger areas along the Sword Coast, it is still very much something that is a wild location where there's not much of anything to protect you other than your own strength and will. Uh, Most people would be coming here from either Neverwinter, Waterdeep, or Tribor. Tribor is a little more inland. It is beyond the Sword Mountains that you guys are kind of settled in the foothills of. And then Neverwinter is likely where most people are from, slightly to the north and beyond this location. Waterdeep is one of the largest cities on the Sword Coast, if not all of Faerun, and it is a good way south of this location, but is still one of the main thoroughfares along the King's Road. And this like northern area of the Sword Coast is that north-south road. But from here, we will kind of jump in uh, and have everyone kind of describe just their outwardly look as we kind of rejoin. We have the two clerics inside of the Temple of Tymora, and we will have Yastin and Edrin kind of coming back into town. Um, and Tyrell will more or less be spending the day inside of the inn, uh, just kind of shaken from this most recent situation and the loss of. We'll kind of have it off on Ty is more or less taking it very personally that he lost Bronte while he was saving everyone.
Yeah, I think
So
Jacid would want to. He'd want to stop by the temple anyway because he would feel like he kind of really only survived the encounter himself because of maybe Tamora's blessing. So that could be a reason for him and Edrin to go back over there and then
oh
encounter.
yeah, I described that wrong. My bad. It was you who saved everybody. We'll have Tyrell sitting out, kind of in shock from nearly dying. So I said that wrong. But we'll have Edrin and Yastin taking the body of Bront to the Temple of Tymora. So you're kind of it'll be the quote unquote three of you kind of carrying Bront to or the two of you carrying Bront's body to the temple, and that's where you will kind of see the presence of the known cleric that you've met many times in prayer, and two others who will basically be joining her in that prayer.
All right, so I'll go ahead and describe my appearance then. So when they're bringing in Bron's body, Jastin's he's about 6 feet tall. He's got uh, brown hair, brown eyes, pretty slender build. Um, he'll have sort of darkened leather armor over dark common clothes. Both the armor and the clothes are going to probably show some wear at this point after a few days of adventuring. He's got he's got a rapier and a couple daggers, as well as a short bow and quiver in terms of weaponry. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for sort of outward appearance wise.
Guy, can you describe your appearance as they walk in? You would be at the front of the temple beneath a ruined statue of a rather indistinguishable god, but in prayer among two other humans.
So my character's gonna actually have like this poofy orange hair, and he does that because he feels that it's reminiscent of like a halo almost. And he's very ginger as well, and he's just wearing chainmail. He's got a crossbow, and he's got a mace as well. Rather nondescript. Besides that glaring feature, he's 5'8", 160 pounds, and I'm not sure what else to say beyond that.
What kind of things are you carrying and holding?
I'm wearing chainmail and holding a crossbow. I have a mace, and I mean that's it.
And then Burke.
Burke's obviously a soldier, and but also a cleric. He seems a bit pained to be here. Uh, like maybe it's taking a little bit more of his time than he would appreciate. He's wearing chainmail. He's got a shield and a warhammer. He's blonde, 6 foot. He's a big boy. Uh, you know, dirty, a bit bedraggled. Yeah.
And then as they kind of turn to meet you all, and you see the look of concern on Gario's face as she sees the body of Bronte carried between Yasin and Edrin. Edrin, can you describe yourself?
Yeah, Adrian has black hair, brown eyes. He's just a bit over 6 foot, wearing common clothes, and he has a spell book and a component pouch. No real weapons on him, and looking a bit worse for wear after that past fight.
So as everyone comes into the temple, you all would see Gariel herself is wearing vestments, and while she carries different holy symbols that show different well, when you update your counter like that, make sure to actually go in and update your maximum health as well, and it will stick to green. She seems to be wearing holy vestments that seem pretty well pretty clearly like signs that they are sacred and that they are near perfect and untarnished. And after a few moments, she kind of signals to the two of you to bring the body of Bronte into one of the rearward locations to place him in a position where she can care for him and do what she may for his essential passage beyond the veil. So she will kind of guide you all back into one of the rear rooms that I don't believe anybody has seen. You've seen her kind of head off to the rearward side of this temple, but I don't believe anybody has actually gone there. She kind of guides you to the back and to the west of the temple, as she has you all place the body of Bronte beneath a smaller but far more like whole statue that more clearly represents the actual deity of Tymora. It is not nearly as ruined as the rest of this temple is. You see as she kind of presents things to you all, and she will kind of take a moment to look over Burke and Guy, and with a moment and clear kind of oh man, the actual descriptor. But she's kind of going to look at you all with a little bit of my head is clouded from allergies. I am very sorry. Like looking down on you almost. She's going to say to you all, young ones, it would appear that those who would protect us are at a loss, and they are in need of your aid. For this, we will have to send you forth, and with what skills you have, you will have to protect those who would protect us. And kind of like holding Burke by like the chin a little bit, she's gonna almost like pinch your chin and kind of just like look down on you a little bit and kind of just say, be safe, travel with your God, keep yourselves protected.
Thank you, Auntie. Will do.
My bad. I clicked something on accident there.
Word, just make sure that you didn't actually, that probably would have used up the actual spell slot. So take a moment to check to see if you did not mean to cast that you still have the spell slot as well. And then after a second, Gariel's kind of going to look over everyone, and you see like a little bit of concern cross her face. Were there not 4 of you? Did another one fall? What is the meaning of all of this?
Our friend Tyrell is recovering back at the inn. Suffered some grievous wounds as well, but with tomorrow's luck managed to pull through. Sadly, couldn't save Bronte. but Tyrell is just going to need some time to recover.
Perhaps with blessings and good fortune, we will be able to do something for your friend here. Perhaps he is beyond the veil and will never choose to return to us, but we can care for his body and his spirits. As you wish, I will do what I may. And again, you don't actually have to follow through with anything, Woods, but there will still essentially be some level of, if you all choose to go on a quest, you can bring Bronte back.
And I think Jason would like to, he would offer Gariel maybe some, after his near-death experience, he's going to want to give an offering. So maybe he'll ask if, sort of like what a suitable offering to assist with Gariel's preparations for Bronte's body would be. Maybe offer a couple gold pieces.
Much of what I require for his passing will be the herbs and tinctures that Adabra cures for me. Will be using many of what I have stored. Perhaps you all will keep her in mind for your future endeavors, and with her safe return, we will be able to guide any others who might have to pass this way. But for now, you are more than welcome to leave sufficient wishes upon the well of Tymora for your safekeeping and for those of our town.
Okay, so he's gonna leave. He's gonna leave 5 gold at the after they return to the in the pool in the main room. Once they go back that way.
Roll a d100 for me. As you coins into the pool, you will actually see as there is a bright, shining light above the. Ooh, almost dropped one of my books. Over the statue, the ruined statue at the front of the temple, and a single small piece of parchment forms across the lap of the god, of the ruined god.
Okay, so he'll approach the ruined statue, and after getting over his shock at what just happened, given that he's not, generally before hasn't been a really particularly religious person, he was kind of giving the money more just sort of because he feels like he got really lucky. He'll approach and pick up the parchment, and then I guess try and read it or unfurl it and read it.
Yeah, so as you look over it, it seems to just be kind of like a perhaps hastily scrolled like note, message, thought. It seems utterly alien to your perceptive abilities. It doesn't seem to be anything resembling like different scratches from Thieves' Cant. It seems to almost be some other sort of code, but it really just it doesn't like quite register with you. It seems different and other than everything that you've ever come across before.
Okay, so maybe knowing that Edrin's a magic user, he'll turn to Edrin and ask him if he can make heads or tails of it, and hand him the piece of parchment.
Well, I look
and
at
invite
it.
and invite Guy and Burke to look at it as well, given that he doesn't really know anything about them yet.
So I know Edrin has Arcana as a proficiency. Who else has Arcana as he shows this bit of parchment to everyone?
I don't, but I do have proficiency in religion, so if that helps.
No, at present it's just going to be for Arcana. If you've got Arcana, let me get a Arcana check from you. So while you look over it, Edrin, this is clearly something extremely powerful. It very much slips your actual understanding of the what it is, but you see signs of arcane scrollings within this note, and can pretty clearly understand that whatever has been gifted to Yastin in this moment is not necessarily something that he can use, so much as that he is being gifted a boon from the actual god at present. And for now, you can understand that this is a scroll of some magical use, but it is well beyond your actual understanding of magic at present, and perhaps with any luck, you will be able to understand it in time.
Well, I tell Justin yes that, and Well, tell him to keep it safe.
You know, they'll find some hidden pocket somewhere and just sort of stow it away for now.
So if you stow that on your person, just write down at present high level scroll from Tymora. And if you guys store that in the party loot, basically the same idea behind it. I have it in my notes for when you all are closer to being able to understand it. But it is also the type of thing where you already have a clear understanding that some level of magic users could certainly attempt to use it where you all are. It's just not necessarily something that you can successfully cast. But with time, different magic users may be able to get closer and closer to actually being it. And while I hope it doesn't feel bad, that was definitely just a randomly generated item. So it was a interesting use of a time to dedicate some money to a god. I rolled extremely low on a D100 and then roll to find a chart for you actually to accomplish that. So different things that you guys do role playing. I don't always do things like inspiration, but stuff like that is kind of how I play out inspiration, where you're actually kind of getting like a divine intervention despite not actually having divine intervention, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yep.
So Gariel is still at the back, kind of caring for the body of Bronte, more or less going through a few rituals of kind of preserving the body with this and that for tinctures and different herbs and fine-smelling perfumes. Assuming that everybody else has essentially followed to the front, the more like exoteric area of the temple. What would you all care to do?
I don't know if we've actually. So we've seen Edred and I have seen Guy and Burke, but I don't think we've actually like introduced ourselves. So, um,
Yeah, all you've seen was essentially the condescending nature with which Gariel kind of like treated them and kind of gave them instruction to assist you.
yeah, and he probably would have been pretty intrigued, especially by sort of the chin tuck or whatever that Gariel gave Burke. So, Jess is just going to go ahead and ask them what brings the two of them to the temple.
The moment you move into the right side of the temple, you would hear just a loud, booming, thunderous blast.
Well, that's Lady Gariel at work, I think.
So, how do you all respond to Yastin as he kind of questions the kind of like your, I don't know, kind of status with Gariel, like what it is that you are doing here with her or in this town? We more or less have you both here on different missions, and this is like the temple where you would have stopped off. But more or less, each of you are pressing forward into the frontier for your different personal purposes as acolytes of your god.
Bert chuckles, and I think you may think I have more purpose than perhaps I do. I mustered out a few months ago, and I've come to Phandalin to see Lady Gariel. She's my father's sister, and quite powerful. So I came to see what I might learn in this frontier mining town. It's quiet, and I think that's what I need.
I think Jessen would chuckle when Burke mentions the town being quiet and just say, might not be quite as quiet as you're hoping.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense. Who did you and your dead friend go to war with? It looked like death by 1,000 cuts.
You may not believe it, but we got attacked by some of the nastiest birds I've ever seen. They were on us before we could blink, and I don't really know how to describe it, but it was quick and nasty.
He was killed by a flock of birds.
Big ones, dangerous ones, very sharp beaks.
Yeah, well, no, certainly sharp. I could see that. Well, perhaps we can journey out together and find the nest.
To be fair, I would rather stay away from birds at the moment.
Garcon feels that he's here just to help people, and seeing as how you guys are putting yourself at risk, he wouldn't, in good conscience, allow you to go alone.
Well, it is a dangerous place, so we can certainly use all the help we can get. So appreciate your assistance.
Do you have some more sort of human shaped enemies that you need to help with, or is it all animals in the woods with you guys?
Well, they are humanoid shaped, so we have a goblin problem.
Goblin problem.
Yeah, so we were actually on our way to deal with them when we got waylaid by these birds. Um, they have some sort of. We've tracked them before. They're some sort of cave complex. We haven't had a chance to delve too far inside yet, but that's another issue we're attempting to deal with.
Just
Goblin's
to
Goblin.
just to recap a moment for you all, you already have a understanding from the little kobold that you kind of brought into the fold for a few moments that apparently the goblins are working with cultists in this area. So you are vaguely aware that while you have a goblin problem in yourselves being ambushed, that apparently the goblins are working with cultists as well.
Burke is very interested in that cultist problem. That seems to strike a chord with him.
Can I perhaps ask more information about the cult? Can I roll a religion check to see if I've heard of them before?
Well, realistically, that was me out of character reminding everyone that Yastin and Edrin can share that information if they would like to. It doesn't have to strictly be the goblin problem, but the cultists were a passing bit of information that Bowden got from the kobold, and it was at the first session, so I think it's like 3 weeks ago now. That's why I wanted to remind you guys that you already vaguely understand that there's more than just a goblin problem as far as humanoids go. So, from you guys, actually, what you might know, we have to wait for them to actually take a moment to share it. And I say it like that because if they mean to, they can certainly hide the information for now. But overall, if the actual person playing the characters have forgotten, I was reminding them that they already know about a cultist problem as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I had kind of, me personally, I'd kind of forgotten about that detail. So thanks for reminding us. So maybe it kind of, as he's explaining about the goblins, it kind of hits him, and he recalls sort of what Bowden had told him about what the kobolds had told Bowden, and say that so he would uh, tell Burke and Guy that at least from uh, he doesn't know how accurate it is, but some of the kobolds in the area had told them that the goblins were working for possibly some kind of cult or some sort of masters. Don't really have a lot of information. All Jason remembers is that the kobolds said they wore some kind of mask, and just mentioned that they haven't seen any signs of cultists yet.
Well, we'll have to keep a lookout for masked cultists. It sounds more and more interesting the more you tell us.
At this point in time, would it be possible to now roll for religion?
You could do a history check. Not particularly religion related at present.
Sure. I'm not proficient at it, but I'll give it a roll. You know.
There are many cults that are active in different regions around the world, so it is not extremely um, surprising to hear that there are cults more or less working to subvert the order of like settlements and more or less civilization here. Often the cults are focused around very particular and charismatic leaders who gain people's confidence and kind of twist them away from a more or less civilized life. And it's pretty regular for these things to happen in isolated areas where there's not just established order that can remove problematic people. So, from what you kind of gather, it's not surprising to come across it. And part of why I say it's a history at this point instead of religion is because they don't know anything about the cult, really. So, you guys don't have anything to go on. but this seems like the type of place where it's not surprising to have cult activity, and it would certainly be an intriguing bit of knowledge, as you guys have clearly seen signs that this is a newly settled area of the frontier, and cult activity is often goes unseen, but it should never be ignored. And then as well, just how I kind of play things at my table, if I'm telling something to a specific person, but everybody is at the table, like I don't pull you into a private room, it's assumed that you share everything unless you in particular want to hide information. You can tell them what you are sharing of what I said, and then it's just meta knowledge for them to block.
Mara, we have one more. Welcome.
Thank you very much for that.
Hey, what up? Welcome.
Hello. Sorry I am late. I am in Pacific Standard Time, so I think on the Roll20 it says 3, and I didn't even notice the Eastern stamp. Sorry.
All good. If you are all set, we are just kind of inside of the town of Phandalin. It's a ancient ruins, kind of freshly resettled by humans in the area. At present, we are kind of rejoining one dead player with his new character to the party, as well as another new player, but they are more or less inside of the ruined Temple of Tymora, having just kind of spent a few moments dedicating a little sacrifice to the god of luck and asking the local priest Gariel to care for the body of their slain friend. And they're currently discussing potentials of the plights in this area, so we can more or less throw you into the mix at present. We want to basically have Gisela walk into the temple, and we can have everybody describe their like physicality, just like what people see in general as a first impression. And you'll kind of like walk up to them as they are describing that there is both a goblin and cult threat around this town. Two of them are clearly bloodied, and two of them seem to be quite fresh. And we'll kind of jump to you all to add Gisela into the group.
Okie dokie.
Oh, I don't think you've actually joined the actual Roll20 campaign yet.
Yeah, I have the Beyond 20 link, and I have my Roll20 or my D&D Beyond character sheet up. But how do I need to join my sheet there, or do I just Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Go on Roll20, and I will jump in right now. I just had it up too. Sorry. My apologies. I have like 4 things going on at once that my husband is now taking care of. So.
That's the actual Roll20 link there. Normally everything like that is just pinned inside of the Discord, but that will take you to the actual Roll20 tabletop. And then you don't have to do anything specifically with your character sheet. Everything is taken care of through Beyond 20, connecting Beyond D&D Beyond. But once you actually have it set up, I can create it so you have a token for Roll20. That's all you need on Roll20 is the token.
Gotcha.
Are you Christy B. Me on Roll20?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so if you have a picture of Gisela that you want to use, you can apply the token. Otherwise, if you just find like a random picture that kind of fits what you want to look like, I can apply it for you. But otherwise, essentially, while you are going through the little bit of token creation before I have a token prepared for you, we can have the others kind of describe themselves while you walk in. You'll see 4 different people. Edrin, do you mind describing yourself again for Gisela?
No worries. I have black hair, brown eyes, around 6 feet, 6'2". I'm wearing common clothes and a spell book, component pouch, looking rather worse for wear, but otherwise nothing really special.
Thank you for that explanation again.
Burke is a 6-foot blonde, kind of disheveled soldier in chainmail, but with a flaming sword of tempest on his chest. He's a cleric. He's a bit standoffish.
And then either a guy or a Yeston.
So Guy's a 5'8", 160-pound cleric. Most notably, he has this wavy, poofy ginger hair that he likens to like a halo of sorts. Um, he's blue-eyed, tan-skinned. He's wearing chainmail. He has a mace. He had left his shield by the door, but he's since gone and retrieved it.
All right, and Justin's about 6 feet, fairly slender build, brown hair, brown eyes. He's wearing darkened, sort of darker colored clothing. His leather armor is also sort of dyed, sort of like a blackish blue. He's fairly well armed. He's got a rapier, a couple of daggers, and a short bow, all kind of on his person right now. And he's one of the ones that's looks a little. I think can tell that like his clothing and his armor have seen some recent use and some recent like damage.
And then while I work on your token, can you describe what they see as Gisela walks in?
A slender female with black hair, wearing an oddly nice dress at the moment, and I have a couple daggers and a javelin. Fair skinned. That's about it. Kind of a not the normally peppy, girly expression on her face, but just kind of there looking around.
So with that, she would kind of overhear the last few moments of you all speaking about the goblins and the cultists. You all can kind of take a moment here. It was already vaguely along my thoughts that Burke would have kind of taken in the boat service of Gisela as a sailor to arrive in this location, assuming you were like coming from like Waterdeep or something. That was kind of what I was going to try to get together with you two beforehand. If that sounds vaguely acceptable for you two, you can create it on the fly, but I like the idea that you two are already somewhat familiar with each other. From an actual like boat ride into this region, but more or less you all can jump into plotting and planning the next few moments, or the next like few missions of your adventure here in Phandalin.
That sounds good to me.
You seem familiar to me from shipping up here. Are you were you on the boat that came from Waterdeep?
Yes, I was actually.
Was that your family that we sailed up here with?
Yes, I've resided in Waterdeep for as long as I can remember now.
Well, we're a long way from the water now. You're gonna be sailing some ships here.
With any luck, I will be. It is one of my most favorite things to do.
Well, perhaps there's a lake around. I haven't had a look yet, but I hope to see that.
How about you? Have you lived your entire life in Waterdeep as well?
No, I came from the woods, but I joined the Lord's Alliance. I thought I had a career in the army ahead of me, but it turned out not to be the case. I've just come here to visit my aunt, who's in the back room, tending over their dead friend, who apparently was killed by a flock of birds.
Very nasty birds.
Yeah, nasty. Sorry, nasty and large birds, as they've told me.
Well, as that is very unfortunate to hear. Life does not always lead us in the direction that we originally wanted it to. I do wish you the best, and hopefully a good visit with your aunt, minus the tragic end to that person's life.
Well, my belief is there's good, there's bad. It's all neutral in the end.
Now that is a way of thinking I can agree with.
How do you feel about goblins? These guys have some goblins.
They don't bother me at all. I pay no mind. There's some. You can get along with everybody if you try hard enough, yeah?
These goblins aren't really the go along, get along type from what we've from our past experience. We were actually thinking of paying them another visit, and not to talk.
That is sound advice. What is the trouble that has been had with these goblins, if you do not mind me asking?
Well, Gudrun, myself, and several others had come down here from Neverwinter originally, escorting some small caravan of goods, and we ran into a goblin ambush not too far outside Phandalin. We managed to drive them off, and a day or two later, managed to track them up into the mountains a ways, where we had a small battle with them, with a couple of goblins and a few of their wolf pets, from what we've heard from some people in town, they've been harassing travelers and merchants on the road, and so we've we'd like to possibly deal with that situation if we can.
Well, I do not mind helping you guys out with that. You have my assistance as needed. I've never been very fond of people taking advantage of other people simply because they can.
I'm with that.
I think Jason would suggest maybe a quick round of drinks in the tavern in the at the Stonehill to sort of cement their new sort of party, and then ask whether we're all up to heading back up the way we came. Maybe dealing with the goblins.
I kind of give like a courteous nod in agreement to what you suggested.
I said that sounds like a good idea. I do reveal that I'm a priest of Helm, god of protection, and so the fact that these people are victimizing innocent villagers does not sit well with me. So now I'm a little bit more committed to that cause.
Bert gives you a grunt.
Is that a yes?
Yeah.
That's a yes
A
from me.
grunt of assent. Let's go.
Did he just grunt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jason will kind of just like raise his eyebrow at Burke's standoffish demeanor, but sort of let it go.
You all are welcome to walk into Stonehill Inn and Tavern. Or not tavern, Stonehill Inn, that also conveniently currently serves as a tavern. You see a few random folks around who just seem to be sat at tables enjoying a little bit of like bread and mutton. A few have different drinks before them, and a bartender who seems to be sitting beneath a straw hat kind of pulled down across his brow as he props his feet upon a little stool and seems to be more or less napping behind what appears to function as a bar to the west end of the... Do you all have anything in particular that you would like to try to learn while you're at the tavern? Or do you just want to have a few moments to kind of spend time together? Is there anything in particular you'd like to accomplish before you go on?
Can I ask the bartender what he knows?
I've spent much of my life trying to mine, but I've found after quite a lot of failed expeditions that I myself am far better at running an inn than I am at doing anything of the sort, trying to find gold. Things are not especially active here, but it's enough that me and my wife are able to get by.
The important thing is that you're safe, friend.
Yes, safety. That's not something joy on the frontier. It's something you dream about.
But you're safe here and now, and perhaps that's all that matters.
Hey, dreams can be obtained. I am sorry for your recent strife, though. What goes on here that makes life so troubling?
Pretty typical things living outside of the protection of the Lord's Alliance. We are hassled by many wild beasts and things that roam about. There's little to be surprised about it while you are settling the frontier.
Is there anything that by chance you might need a hand with in that aspect?
Me personally, I need more people in town. More people who stay at the inn, the better we do.
I mean, I think Jason will come up to the bar and, as Guy and, I'm sorry, is it Giselle or Gisela?
Gisela.
So as Guy and Gisela are speaking with him, and he'll just sort of interject briefly to ask the bartender to, when he has a chance, bring over a small keg to the table near the hearth. And when he heads back to the table, the party might notice that Jason's careful to take a seat with his back to the wall, just sort of so that he can get as wide a view of the inn as he's sitting.
Okay, I agree with that. I can sit with him and do the same, and I order a drink from the bartender. I don't know if you have specific drinks sold here, if I should just order an ale or...
So Jason ordered a keg of ale, so it's like for multiple people, and he could mention to Gisela they also serve a good mead.
Okay, I'm good with the ale. I'm good with the ale. Sorry, I missed that, Jason.
Yeah, so after a few moments, he would come back from behind the closed door to the west, carrying a slightly larger keg than the ones you all have been enjoying. but with a big smile on his head, he taps it for you all, pours the first few glasses before he recognizes that there's others sitting with you at the table. And after a moment, he kind of steps away and he comes back with two more glasses for you all, and then kind of sets it off and more or less quickly returns to apparently napping at the front of the inn.
I turn my attention towards the rest of the party and I ask, "So what brings you here? Everyone has a story, do they not?"
So as Justin's drawing his ale, he'll seem a little I guess hesitant to give too many details, and he'll just say that he sort of ran into somebody needing an escort, sort of as he had mentioned in the temple, and now that he's here, is um, just figures this is as good a place as any.
Okay.
My character is slightly enamored with alcohol, so you kind of notice him. You kind of notice him going off a little too deep in there.
And so Justin will also ask a guy, Gisela and Burke, if have they all just arrived in town, or have they been here a couple days?
Burke is happy to drink your beer, and he just got here yesterday. So meeting up with all of you is a happy encounter.
From behind a very large glass of ale and I guess kind of like a foam on her lip, I look up and I say, "Same for me." And like realizing kind of wipe my mouth a little bit.
It's good to get out of that temple. This is a little more. This is a little more my speed over here at the inn.
So I think at this point, Justin would want to mention to the three of them that what Darren had told him and Edrin about the red brands in town, and just sort of suggest that they watch their step within town, and that the town's not quite as safe as they might be used to if they're from Waterdeep. Sort of speaking quietly at this point, given that yeah.
I'm sorry, did you ask if we were from Waterdeep or were we familiar with this town at all? I apologize.
So he was just going to be sort of telling the new arrivals that they've heard that there might be some troubles in town as well, with a group that's been referred to as the Red Brands. Kind of just sort of thugs, um, and just sort of warn them that they might want to be careful while they're in town. Sort of a friendly warning, I guess, or heads up.
Okay, I thank him for the warning.
Any of them here in the inn with us?
From what I've heard, they tend to stick to another tavern in town called the Sleeping Giant, but to be honest, we don't know all that much about them.
It's an ominous name for a tavern.
Burke, you can make a perception check if you would like to kind of glance around, but you do not appear to see anybody who seems to have any branding about their person that might be a quote-unquote red brand.
Yeah, they seem like citizens to me.
Edron, seeing as Justin warned them about, the ruffians, I'm gonna warn them about the Manticore sitting itself down at the southwest by the windmill.
Burke is shocked. A manticore? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. We were shocked too when we saw it.
It's just out and about and nobody's doing anything about it?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing you're welcome to try it if you want to.
Yeah, that's funny. All manner of strange killer birds and giant flapping wings around here. It's interesting.
Yes, I can imagine it's quite different from Waterdeep.
Yes, interesting is a word for it.
Well, I think I found the right people to hang around with.
Yeah, if you're looking for a quiet time, I suggest looking elsewhere. But if you're amenable to a bit of excitement, I think you've come to the right place.
Normally I pick quiet, but if you guys are gonna get yourself in that much danger, perhaps I should stick around.
I do love the sound of a quiet long stroll, but being in the center of excitement, I can handle that.
So when do we head out to find your little friends?
If you're all ready now, maybe I'll just grab one more drink for the road, and if we can get there before, we still have some daylight. might be better.
Are we alone in the tavern, or are there other people here as well?
Wait, did I not drag you all over into the tavern? Yeah. You can see there's other people in the tavern.
Oh, okay. I did see that. I don't know why I asked. I apologize. Can I roll perception just to see the conversations that are going around? If I hear anything that stands out to maybe like someone talking about this, what we're about to go do, or something nearby.
There's nothing specially happening between the people that are actually here right now. They seem very much to just kind of be people who it's the highest part of the sun in the day. They seem to be kind of taking shelter from the sun and enjoying like a bite of to eat and refreshment. But more or less, there's not really anything happening in this place at present. Nothing really to sense per se. After not too long, though, as it starts to seem like you all are preparing to move off, eventually Toblin would come up to you all and let you know that Ty has acquired the same room that you've been staying in. If you'd like to leave your kind of keg or any of your things behind, basically giving you a place to leave such things. But I feel like there's some level of you guys are either going to have to start taking constitution checks for how drunk you are, or you are not finishing all of these kegs that you buy.
I'm probably not going to finish all the kegs that are here in front of us, but I do love the suggestion that so much was bought.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
at
have to
present,
do Constitution.
at present they've bought a keg a day, so it's a nice simple solution to drinking, but they're definitely not drinking enough to finish a mini keg as far as I feel like things go.
Gotcha.
I think Ty might appreciate if we bring the remainder of the keg up to him. He's still sort of getting through some stuff.
But overall, if you all are finished with just a little bit of time spent inside of here, you are more than welcome to head out. It's still going to be like roughly like the highest part of the sun in the day. But otherwise, you all are welcome to head back off to the north out of Phandalin, leaving the ruins of the town kind of behind you, passing through the ruin walls. You've got a short walk to where everybody was ambushed, and it was a pretty similar area as where the birds themselves ambushed you last. You would see like remnants of the blood of the actual battle, where everybody had at one point fallen. And if you'd like to describe, how would you like to progress forward from that area of like going after the goblins? Assuming you're going after the goblins, my bad.
Before we proceed further, I'm gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
Is that your bird armor that you're putting on?
Well, hopefully it's gonna help against birds and other creatures.
Yeah, and so Justin's going to turn to the newcomers and just say that I've done my best tracking tracking the goblins earlier, but I'm much more of a city person. I know how to get around stealthily, but I'm not certainly no expert tracker. So if any of you want to take the lead, feel free.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you, but I'll be right behind you if the birds come. I'm ready.
And also warn them that the goblins have they previously encountered some traps, and so warn them to keep an eye out. Yeah, just mentioning the couple that they've seen already, and then just sort of suggesting that it's possible the goblins may have set more, and so just warning everybody to keep an eye out.
All right, I hear your advice, and I accept. And you can tell that I heard you. I kind of give like a courteous half nod, and then continue on. As to where I'm not much of a frontliner, I do not mind taking the lead, or I do not mind following third in line past. I'm sorry, it's gonna take me to get used to everybody's names, but past the first two that we're just speaking.
I think Yastin would still be the best person to actually follow the trail and to spot the traps. But you all are welcome to decide however you would care to how to follow the trail back. You have a pretty solid understanding of it, predominantly at that point. If it's Yastin or Edrin leading, it really is just keeping yourselves on the trail more than that you have to find it, and spotting any traps that would be outside of the ones that you've already spotted.
Yeah, so sort of seeing that nobody volunteered, Justin will kind of just by default take the take the lead again, considering he's at least somewhat familiar with the trail, and sort of given that try and focus his attention on keeping an eye out for traps as they proceed. And then I don't know how the rest of you want to arrange yourselves behind me.
Burke's gonna walk behind you and keep his eye on the sky because that was this thing that most caught his attention.
My character has more dexterity than strength, and primarily uses a light crossbow. So I'm gonna stick with Burke, and also watch the skies.
Edran is just gonna walk a little bit behind Guy and Burke.
I'll walk behind everyone.
So if I can have Justin roll a perception and a survival. So you are pretty successfully able to follow down the first large part of the trail, making your way past the first of the traps that you all had spotted in the last time. And you're well on the way to where you all had last encountered the cave opening. Let me have one more set from you all as you have another 15 or 20 minutes before you get to the actual cave itself.
You want perception from everybody?
No, just perception from Yasin.
And then survival from everybody?
Nope. It was all just from him for leading. Survival to track the trail that he already knew, and perception to keep an eye on the actual traps.
Okay.
So pretty simple to spot the last of the traps where there was a spring levered tree kind of layered with spikes so it would kind of slap into the actual trail. And you guys pretty quickly recognize as you are coming up to an actual mountainous region in this area that clearly kind of shows the stonework that's or the stone of this area where they have their cave built into this mountain face. How would you all like to progress forward as you get closer and closer to the actual cave of the goblins?
So Justin's going to want to pause and maybe take a look around the if they've sort of reached the that first clearing area by the stream. He's going to want to take a look around and see one, if it looks like the sort of the bodies of the wolves and the have been moved, or if it looks like there's been recent activity since they were last here.
Mechanically, I am offering you all a chance to do a little bit more plotting and planning before you get up to that point. But you are welcome to jump to that point if you all are ready.
Oh, no, I misunderstood. I misunderstood you.
Burke wants to ask Justin, who obviously is leading the party at this point, and who seems slightly uncomfortable with that. What happened last time you were here? How did it go? What did you learn?
So Justin will try and sort of recap their first encounter, noting that they'd heard some goblin conversation, but weren't really able to spot anything until they had gotten into the clearing and across the small stream before the cliff face, and that sort of almost as soon as that happened, they heard a horn blast, and that they ran into several goblins outside in a small clearing sort of southwest of the cliff face, along with several wolves, and that the party had managed to fight them off, but kind of had took some hits themselves in the fight, and just sort of he try and explain the terrain to them, sort of indicating that there's not it's a pretty open approach, so it's going to be difficult for them to sneak up, especially given that the goblins are already aware they've been there before. And he'll ask if anybody has any ideas.
So it sounds like they're crafty. They've got to look out with an alarm out in front. So did you quite get into the cave, or did you just skirmish outside their fortress?
We're outside of their fortress, you said, right? That was your question, if we wanted to go inside or just kind of stay outside for a minute?
Well, at present, this would still be 5 or 10 minutes out. You're approaching that location, and this is basically, I was giving you all a last option to describe and plan things before, again, because Yasin's already described, they have an ambush overlook watching the way that you guys will walk up. So the moment that I put you on the map, you all are aware enough at this point that the goblins have a view of you while they are blocked behind a large thicket of trees. So this is kind of a mechanical opportunity to plot and plan before you have gone beyond the point where you can safely talk without any risk.
Okay, got it.
I'm looking around. I mean, I personally use more of a ranged weapon. What kind of fighting style do you guys have? Just so that we know.
I'm better as a ranged attacker myself. I can get up and close, but I prefer not to. Not my strong suit.
So my character has a shield, is proficient with it, and has chainmail, and is also proficient in heavy armor. So he he could be up close and back up someone who's taking the infantry role there, but he does primarily like using his crossbow.
I can be like a cover fire person. I have a crossbow as well. That's my preferred method, and I also have some magic on hand.
So at this point, I think Jason would turn to Burke, given that he's kind of got a soldierly sort of demeanor, and sort of ask him if he's got any particular ideas on the approach. And he'll also turn to Edrin because he thinks he remembers that Edrin probably got the farthest into the cave, and ask Edrin if he recalls seeing anything. Justin himself never really got too far, just sort of at the very entrance of the cavern.
I can tell you that I didn't get very deep into the cave, so I didn't see very much. Just a couple of branching paths and the water. Otherwise, nothing really useful.
I think you would know enough that you could share with them that there appeared to be a kind of side cavern with the wolves to the east, and then that the path seemed to branch east and west a good ways into the cavern itself, and I think you could be pretty certain that the stream branched to the east.
Yeah, well, okay, I recap that.
Burke's response to the question is, so there's a lookout. We need to keep the lookout from sounding the horn. So how do we do that? We either charge, or we do it quietly. What do you think will work? You've seen the terrain.
It's difficult to approach stealthily to the clearing. We saw the lookouts previously. There's some very heavy undergrowth and tree cover on the eastern side of the stream, from what I can remember. So we can try and have one person scout ahead, but I'm not optimistic of our chances to get across undetected. At this
If
point,
we-
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Jason would also just at this point mention that the sort of like water trap that they faced the last time, and that sort of try to explain that it looks like the goblins had previously maybe dammed or somehow done something with the stream that sent like a wall of water at them after they had defeated the two goblin lookouts. And so, just sort of similar to the sort of warning them about the traps on the way up, he would warn them to just sort of be ready for something like that.
And what were you saying, Jazala?
If we could think of a way for someone to feasibly scout ahead, I can do so, and I can relay what I see. Excuse me. I can relay what I see to someone, being that I can send you a telepathic message to do so. So I can quietly relay my findings without having to try and sneak all the way back to the party.
Whoa, you can talk to us without talking to us?
I can. Sometimes people don't like it because I have a tendency to talk quite a lot, but yes, I can.
Oh, that's powerful. Well, Justin, for me, I'll charge goblins if that's what needs to happen. I think you got to tell us what you think's going to work when we get there. But point me at it, and I'll take it out.
If Gisela is willing to try and scout ahead, I say just everyone be ready to support her.
Yeah, is it possible for me to not exactly be right behind her, but like closer to her than anybody else, just in case um she gets surprise attacked or found out or what have you?
So maybe like once we actually sort of get up to the the clearing, and so we can so you can have a better idea of kind of what we only just like described. We sort of are pretty much think we kind of have the plan, and now we can kind of like stealth up towards the clearing itself, and then kind of maybe determine our exact sort of movements and approach from there.
So from here, let me have everyone make stealth checks.
Ouchie.
I guess mine didn't roll over. Hold on a second. Sorry. Except that wasn't a perception check.
Way to go, Justin, on the stealth check. Nice.
I think that was Jesus. Mine was not so good.
Oh, gotcha. That so was my bad.
Yeah, I think I've got it. A lot of us have it set up to just roll twice automatically, so we're not, so in case we had like advantage or disadvantage, but when we don't, it's just like that first number.
After wasting, just as out of character, but after wasting all those high rolls last time, I think the shift and command roll are my new solution to this problem of double rolling.
The shift command.
Well, if you
I've
press
always had
shift,
better luck.
if you press shift before you click on the die, right, it rolls 2. So I don't want to do it when I don't need to, because now I'm a little superstitious. Sorry, Gisela, what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I love playing on virtual because I can play with other people that way, especially now with how crazy it is. But dice roller apps are so the devil.
Sorry, I didn't mean to roll that last stealth. I was trying to do something else. Just ignoring that one.
My bad. I'm just doing a few things behind the screen. I will be right back with you all as you are stealthing up to this little area.
No problem.
I'm very impressed with how quiet Burke is in his chainmail and all his rattly bits of metal he's wearing.
Yeah, I think the 2 heavy armor people were among the highest there with a 12 and a 13.
Yeah, and here's little old me in just common clothes, and I'm basically stomping around everywhere.
Yeah, nothing good's gonna come from that.
Justin, can you point at where the goblins are? Where's this lookout spot?
Wait, I have a question. I mean, obviously, I could just click on stealth and it'll roll, but how do I know if it factors in my armor?
It didn't really do it there because it didn't like explicitly say that it was disadvantaged. But essentially what it will normally do, and they're both kind of updating their systems pretty regularly. So like the purple outlines is not normally how it will show up. But usually if you have disadvantage, it will show that like stealth box that you have in gray, and it will gray out both numbers. And that kind of shows that it's meant to be with disadvantage. But essentially your armor is why I took the 12 from you. That's part of why always roll 2 is good, because when you do have disadvantage or advantage, it already has it rolled just automatically.
Okay, I'll change my sheet to go ahead and do that for everyone.
So in response to Burke's question, Justin's going to sort of like, he'll point to the east across the stream, sort of at the trees, and just say, explain to them there's a clearing beyond them, and that's where they encountered the 2 lookouts before.
Alrighty. So, a arrow is going to fly out of the trees at Burke for a 14 to hit. I believe that will plink off of your armor.
Yes, or maybe land between my feet in the ground.
And then you all will you just see the arrow kind of fly off from the east inside of those trees. That just seems to be a impossibly dense fold of trees. And you hear the slightest sound of something apparently running into the cave. But that's kind of what you guys would get to at that point. But I am going to have you all roll for initiative here.
So I guess they know we're here, huh?
Seems as such.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem, honey.
I think overall, even without a 1, there was a extremely high chance that you guys were not going to be able to sneak up on them again.
Yeah, they kind of knew we were coming. Most of us were rolling terribly. Gisela rolled well for initiative, but wow.
Welcome, Giselle. We need your help.
I am glad to be here. Give me 2 seconds. I need to grab my house phone. I'll be right back.
So Justin, what do you want to do now that they know we're here?
Just a minor detail, but once you all are inside of initiative, everything is split in the same 6 seconds, so you can't really talk outside of your initiative order. And again, the most important aspect of that is not necessarily to stop you all from planning, but to create the actual tense nature of when you try to speak with things, both your friends as well as foes. You say stuff and you have to wait for their reaction. and sometimes other people are going to react before your like pleading or negotiating actually goes off and has a chance to react with the opponent or friendly creature. So let's see. Gazella would have acted beforehand. The arrow would have rung out. You hear like the slightest sound of something running into the cave, and then everybody is surprised, and it would go back to Gazella. So we will start there when she arrives back from the phone. So again, I kind of messed up. Like surprise is a very interesting thing to happen because essentially you would have acted before they actually had anything happen. So Gisela would have like basically entirely passed her turn. The actual goblin would have shot its arrow. So you would have essentially never been surprised because you acted before they even revealed themselves, in having you all surprised. And you basically would have seen a goblin shoot and a goblin hear like the well, really only Justin would have heard any sign of the goblin running. And even that, it was, I say it vaguely, as you would have heard like the pitter patter of feet, because its stealth was way higher than even your passive perception. So it will kind of continue back to essentially a traditional order of initiative at this point. But you would have freshly experienced the ringing of an arrow across the heavy armor of one of your friends. How would Gisela like to react?
Shoot my crossbow in the. I can see the person, right?
You all cannot see anything through those trees.
Gotcha.
And I feel like if they didn't describe it before, I feel like they would have had enough of a recollection to describe that it was prepared in a way that there was no way to cross the actual stream and get through that brush, and that they could not see anything through it. It is very particularly created that this is an ambush point that you all will have to progress to the north and flank around to actually be able to basically make an attack on this creature.
Okay, so I'm thinking that I'm gonna ask the rest of the party what do they think about flanking around and trying to get advantage and actually be able to see who are attackers.
If you were going to go forward with a little bit of speaking there, if you, knowing that you don't actually have a line of sight on it, you could either prepare a spell for seeing a creature and then cast the spell with your reaction outside of your turn, or you could take the dodge action to essentially make yourself more difficult to hit while you are incapable of hurting your enemy.
I say that might be the smartest plan if the party agrees to take the dodge action, try and get in more a spot with more advantage, and I can prepare a spell for when we do encounter somebody.
Well, it's either or on that point. It uses your action to cast the spell, and then you hold it for a specific reason that you would release it, and that uses your reaction to release it. So like in that case, if you had a cantrip, that's something that doesn't get wasted by doing it. So you could like, not actually looking at your character, like hold a firebolt for if you see an enemy running by, and the moment you saw an enemy, you would have the choice to release that spell, or it would just like fizzle and be gone. And that would use your action and your reaction to do that, given the, like, you dedicate a specific thing that would be the trigger, and then when that first time a trigger happens, you could use your reaction to do it. The alternative is to use your action for something like dodging. And then you were probably going away for the phone, but part of once I put the initiative order up there, every single time we go through that rotation is the same 6 seconds. So you've essentially asked that question of the party, do we flank or do we, I forgot what the other part of it was, but essentially, should we go flank this thing? And that's like your turn as far as speaking goes. You have to wait for them to get their turn on initiative before they can essentially attack. But from here, would you like to dodge? Would you like to cast something like a cantrip or a spell and hold it for a specific trigger?
I'd say that I'd like to dodge since I can't see anybody, and I will hold Ray of Frost for if someone comes into my line of sight.
Are you going to quicken a Ray of Frost?
Yes.
Alright, so burn 2 sorcery points, and that's what it would cost to do that. But you can use the dodge action, and then you can quicken Ray of Frost, and that is essentially cast.
Gotcha.
Another arrow will fly out at Yastin for a 15 to hit.
That'll hit.
I don't know what I fucked up about goblins, but it's not rolling attack and the damage. 1 damage, so 3 damage piercing to you. And then, you know what? Sella, you may be able to see this creature as it steps out. Do you see anything inside of the cave at present?
I don't. Well, I mean, I could because of being able to see farther, but
Well, it's set on your character. It should be set for you to have your shadow vision.
okay. Right now on the map, all I see is the river and the tree line.
Gotcha. So from there, it's probably just blocked by the actual entrance area. He is going to take a shot at Edrin, which will be +5 defense. So 13 should miss with your mage armor, and then the actual defense of where he's coming from. You all will hear like the plink of an arrow across the stone of the cave, and then onto Yastin. What would you like to do? In the last few moments, you've seen 2 arrows fly out of the hide to the east, and then just recently heard the sound of one plinking off the stonework to the north.
Okay, so Justin's going to mention to the party what he heard about the sort of the goblin fleeing back north, and he'll say since they already know we're here, might as well try to force our way in, and then so he's going to move. Who's going to move up? I'm sort of motioning the party up with him, and he's going to just use his dodge action.
I feel like that one should definitely be within your view, Casella.
Yes, I let the party know that.
Again, you can't speak outside of your turn, though. But you can release your spell.
I'm sorry. I will do so. Let me cast it right now.
Like when you select it on D&D Beyond, if you select the name, it should put like a little red button that basically says like VTT, and that will cast it over to...
Yes. Yeah. There's a major lag. Does a 19 hit?
19 will hit.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, there's a major lag on when I actually roll and when it pops up. Okay, I apologize if I'm doing this wrong. I know it is that it's not hitting on the Roll20, but it is showing me on my D&D. Give me 1 second. Here we go. I think I see what I did wrong.
There it is.
I forgot to click the B the first time. I apologize.
And as he rounds the corner, he is going to take aim, and he's going to fire at Burke for a 17 to hit. I believe that misses. Oh wait, you've got a crossbow out, Burke? Oh no, that's Guy who's got the crossbow.
No, I have a shield out. It's like, look at that, somewhat unimpressed as it bangs off the shield.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And this one's going to shoot at Yastin for a 6 will miss. And it will go to Edrin.
Just gonna move up behind Yastin a bit. Then let's see. I'm gonna ready a frostbite spell.
And then to Guy. What is the trigger for your frostbite?
Let's see. What do you mean by trigger? Like, if I see someone or...
If you see someone, that would attack the next person that you see.
Yeah.
By that I mean you're going to attack anyone who is the next person that you see. The trigger has to be a particular thing. Like seeing something that's taking aim at me, something that's running past my vision.
Yeah, okay. If anything takes aim at me or tries to harm me.
And then to Guy.
I'm gonna try and... So at this point in time, obviously for reference, Edrin has his mage armor, right? And Justin is mainly lightly armored, correct?
I believe Yastin is wearing a leather armor.
Yep, leather armor.
In that case, since he's kind of spearheading all this, I'm going to go ahead and move up to him and cast resistance on him. I may have clicked that twice, but essentially I clicked it. I'm not going to lie, though. I'm not sure exactly how to apply that to him, though. So I clicked it. I see it on the screen here, but I'm not sure what else to do.
I don't actually see you with that cantrip on your character sheet. You have Guidance, Light, and Sacred Flame.
Resistance is not there. Oh, I mean, I may have made a mistake then.
I mean, it's early enough that you can switch to it, but you have to choose your 3 cantrips, and you're pretty well locked into them. It's like pretty much what your character has for now on.
Well, here from what I can see, I have Guidance, Resistance, and Light, but I guess on my D&D Beyond, I may have not selected that.
Alright, so I switched it over for D&D Beyond, Guidance, Resistance, and Light.
Okay.
So for the next minute, as long as he holds concentration, You can add a D4 to a saving throw that you make.
And just for a mechanical question, does that include like normal defense, or is just like specifically a saving throw?
Just saving throw.
Okay.
And it will go to Bert.
Burke is slow to get started, but he's going to run in front of everybody and yell, "You should stand behind me," and end up here. Sometimes I forget to unclick that measuring thing. And so he'll take his dodge action behind his shield right there.
And then to Gazella.
All right. Yes. So seeing as how we can't see any other creatures yet, I'm going to take the dodge action and move up along with Burke, but stay behind him as well. And that'll do it for me.
We'll all see as a goblin quickly runs past you all to the east as it flees up the corridor. Another will loose a arrow at Burke, pretty much fishing for a crit. It is otherwise, well, actually, I guess a double crit, as it is otherwise pretty much impossible to hit with this shot. And it will plink off of the wall, and it will go to Yeston.
All right, so Justin's going to move up here behind Burke. Actually, yeah, he might probably try and let Burke keep the lead. So he's just going to use his dodge action again. And I think, can he attempt to hide with his bonus action? Is there any?
I believe you have cunning actions now.
Yeah, so if he can try and sort of like, in addition to sort of dodging while he's behind Burke, just try and sort of, if he can try and sort of disappear into those trees to his west a little bit.
You can make a, well, wait, let me make your stealth check. And it still didn't whisper it. But otherwise, yes, you feel stealthy as you hide behind Burke. And you take the dodge action again as your main action. And
he's not going to move anymore, so that'll be it for his turn.
I like this. You feel stealthy thing. It's funny.
yeah, that's why I've got to remember myself to roll people's stealth checks as well as death saving, the death saves, because it's stuff that's, I feel like it's important for the mechanics, but it is definitely best for people not to have an understanding of how they feel, like how they're doing on it.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense to me too.
So I don't believe anybody is holding an action at this point, or maybe Edrin is. So you would have a chance for a frostbite, I believe is a constitution saving throw.
Yeah, frostbite is Constitution saving throw 13.
He will fail the saving throw, and as you see a goblin run out of the cave to the east, it almost like shatters as it takes a step down the stairs, and you see as its body like crumbles into pieces across the floor.
And that's inside the cave. Okay, I see it now. Thanks.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as you all are looking inside of this cave should be dark for you. It will be the type of thing where people are going to need light to be able to continue on. And as well, coming from a background of, like, when I was a kid, I played a lot of Warhammer Quest. That's how I got into tabletop gaming. I always like the idea that you die if you don't have a fucking torch or the lantern with the party. So I play when you are using like dim light and no light, that you are at a disadvantage to make attacks into that range. So all of the goblins will not be fighting with light. They will be disadvantaged if there is no light, as well as you all. So just to keep in mind that as you progress into this place, you will need some semblance of light with you all.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Goblin is going to step forward. He is going to aim at Yastin. Take a shot with +5 AC. He's going to plink off of the wall as he watches his friend shatter across the ground in horror. And it will go to Edrin.
Just gonna move up a bit again, and this time I'm gonna ready a firebolt. And the same, basically, if anyone tries to harm me or aim at me, throw it.
And then to Guy.
Okay. At this point in time, I can't really walk in. Can I like walk in front of people? Like, can I walk past them, ahead of them, or do I have to kind of stay back here?
So as far as the stream goes, it is a dexterity check whether you fall. It is pretty much a pass. There is a fail state that is very minor to cross. But walking across the stream is a option, as well as you can walk on the same spot, like a square, as someone else, but you cannot stop on the same square as someone else. And it is difficult terrain to pass through a square of someone else. So at present, if you want to stay back, that is essentially an option. Otherwise, you are more or less to cross the stream. And those are kind of your two options there, is to move forward up the stream and potentially cross it, or just to hold behind.
In that case, trying to figure out. So when I cast light, I could cast it on an object, right? Like, does the size of the object reflect on the radius of the light at all?
I believe light is 10 foot of bright and 10 foot of dim.
Okay. Is it possible for me to cast it on like a candle, throw it in there? I imagine light is limited amount of time, right? And so if I throw a candle in there, that's affected by this light cantrip. Can I throw it?
Yeah, light is a hour, and it is 20 feet of bright light and 20 feet of dim light.
Okay. Can I throw an object though, like into the cave mouth, as far as I can, just so I could get some light in there?
You can make a strength check and see how far you can throw it.
Okay. Can I throw it from where I'm standing though, or
You can certainly try.
Okay, and that so you mentioned I could move up past everybody else crossing the river, right? So I'm kind of ahead there. Is that possible?
Yep. It's up to you how you'd like to move, but you certainly have movement options.
Okay, I'll take that dexterity check to cross the river ahead of Burke there.
So give me a dex check. You are successfully able to walk through the river.
Is placing my token there fine?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, at this point in time, I'll cast light on a candle, and then I'll do a strength check to see how far I could throw it into the cave mouth. Okay, there we go.
And you're just trying to throw it basically north of you there?
Yeah, into the cave mouth.
Well, you probably can't actually see much of anything in the cave mouth right now.
Oh, I'm inside of it? Oh,
Well, what I'm saying, though, is right now you probably cannot see a whole lot as to describe more about the cave.
Oh, I see. Oh, in that case, I'll hang on to that object in the meantime, and I'll have 10 feet of light, and then 10 feet more of dim. In that case.
But you still want to cast it on a candle and just hold the candle for now?
Yes. Just to be clear though, like the light from a candle, is it the same? Does it really matter if I use a spell, a cantrip on this thing?
I believe a candle sheds a lot less light than your cantrip will.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll cast a cantrip on the candle, and I'll just I'll tuck it by me.
That would more or less be what you were going for. You should be emitting that light at present. You are essentially holding up the candle as it is just glowing with a bright light before you.
Sweet.
And then it will go to Burke.
All right, so Burke looks into the cave and sees that guy has cast some light, and he's going to move up to those stairs by the dead goblin, just because he thinks he can see now by the light cast by Guy. Can I see any other goblins in this cave?
You should be able to see what you can see. I believe you might have vision on one goblin.
I wish I did, but I don't. I see a dead one. That's all I can see. But I can't really see the end of the cave to the right there, the eastern cave.
Yeah, I don't believe you would have too much of a view inside of that cavern because Guy is essentially outside of that section. You're kind of like cut off on his light in that last square that you were in.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna huddle up here at the intersection of the of those stairs. I didn't roll my dexterity check. You need that?
Oh yeah, crossing the stream dex. That is no pluses. That's a success.
Amazing.
Anything else from Burke?
I still have an action, so I guess I'll use the dodge action to sort of huddle up behind my shield and try to look around.
And then to Gisela.
Yes, can I step out, like up in, like closer to the rest of the party, I guess, to try and get a view down up into the cave, or up into the cave, and with my ability to see far and dark light, I should be able to see up in there, if that is exact, if there is anything to see anyway. You said I need to roll a dexterity save to cross the river, though, right?
Yep, once you step into the stream, you just need it's just a dex check. It shouldn't actually be a save. But Burke doesn't have proficiency, so the save still function.
Gotcha. Let me see, I hit the B this time. Let me make sure. Oh, there we go.
That is a success.
Okay, cool. So I want to, let's see, I can see, if I wanted to move any further up, would it be another dexterity check?
No, it's like essentially for that turn of movement, regardless of how you space it out and whatnot. It's just to see that like how sturdy of footing. It's more or less to like give me an idea of how much attention you are paying to your feet as you were walking across what is potentially slippery rocks. And when I say it's essentially a fail state, it's pretty much fishing for a 1. You guys are at a 5% chance to fail basically walking across this stream.
Okie dokie. Then I'm going to move, and I'm going to use my action to cast Ray of Frost, and I'm going to use a sorcery point to make it a twin spell.
Alright, so when you are casting across that area, he's going to be in half cover. So it will be increased defense, but you can roll 2 Rays of Frost.
Okay.
Both of those are going to miss.
Gotcha. Okay, so that would be the end of my turn then. I believe that would be the end of my turn then.
Yeah, you're good.
Can I use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark? Actually, I think that would be another spell, so I cannot do that. I know I can do 1 spell per turn, so my bad. Negate that.
Oh, you don't have enough sorcery points to have quickened that spell. Or to have twinned that spell. Quicken would have used both of your...
Oh, isn't it only 1 sorcery point to use twin spell cantrip?
Yeah, but you quickened the spell when you held an action, and Quicken uses 2.
We're level 3, yes?
No, level 2.
Okay, I have my character set at level 2, but then when you said about using Quicken spell, you don't get meta magic until you're level 3, so I wasn't sure if I was mistaken on that or not.
Oh, so you don't have any of those right now. I got you.
No. Okay, so I will make sure I note that accordingly. Sorry about that.
Nope. I try to have an understanding of characters, but I definitely lean on everyone to be the experts of their characters and know yourselves as much as possible. So I will definitely be confused at many points in time with your actual characters. So yeah, those two little instances are kind of a moot point. So we'll give you that kind of quick little bonus to the Quicken and have that for free. But at present, just burn those fonts of magics and we will pretend as if you, in the heat of the moment, were able to access Quicken spell for that moment in time.
I will be more on top of that. I meant to send you a private message asking about that, but I got distracted. I apologize. So that would be the end of my turn, though, and thank you.
So let's see. I know Gazella and perhaps Burke or Guy. Do either of you speak Goblinoid?
No.
I do.
I do.
No, that's why I said I know Gazella. Guy, roll a perception check for me.
Will do.
So Gazella, as you round the corner, you will hear one of them say, you will hear in Goblin, she's behind us, Lee. And the rest of you will just kind of hear like a cackling, sort of like a horrendous, like screeching of a voice. And that will kind of be that for the moment here. Take a short bow shot at Gazella, an 18 to hit for 5 damage.
Okay.
And you would be aware enough that you basically would see a goblin like poke out from the east, releasing an arrow at you, and then almost immediately afterwards disappearing back into that direction.
Okay.
Yastin.
Alright, so Justin's going to try to cross the stream here.
That is a success.
Okay, so he's going to take a shot at the goblin past Gisela, if he can see him.
If you've got a sight on it, you should have a shot, and it will be in cover, but you should have a shot on it.
Okay, yeah, see, like it's like half revealed for me on my map, so I just wasn't sure if that meant I could
Sounds right.
see it. My character could see it.
No, yeah, one of the things for dynamic lighting is that when it's properly set up, if you guys see something, you should properly have a vision of it. 10 will miss.
So then he'll back up towards Burke, and if he can attempt to hide, he'll try and do that as a bonus action.
You feel stealthy.
And that'll be it for him.
I feel stealthy too.
Let's see, and we'll go to the dead goblin that you just shot at. He is going to kind of spin behind him and take a shot at, let's see who he's going to aim at. He's going to take a shot at Gazella. 12 to hit. I believe that will miss, because you'll have the same kind of cover as he's running.
Okay. Phew.
And it will go to Edrin.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to move up into the cave. So let's see. It's let's see, dexterity check.
It is a success.
Yeah, and let's see. I had like don't move up here should be fine. And gonna end turn there.
And it will go to Guy.
Okie doke. I'm gonna go ahead and move up closer to Gazella.
So as you get to that point, there are going to be 2 arrows that fly past you. They're both going to kind of plink off of the wall to the west of you, like they're coming from the west. And as they are kind of shot down that corridor, they just like plink off of the stonework, but you would be well aware that there are goblins looking at you from the west.
Okay. Is it possible for me to throw something and then recast light on a new item?
You can only have 1 item lit up with light.
Okay.
So you can most certainly do something like that, but it will turn off the previously lit item.
I see. So I don't have a straight shot at anything that was down there. I just kind of noticed that something is there.
Well, I mean, I believe you can probably see those goblins up there right now.
Okay. I'll
Well, no, like, I'm actually asking you, like, can you see the goblins to the west?
Yes, I see 2 items. I mean 2 enemies over there.
Yeah,
From where I'm
it's
standing.
shooting through, like, a corridor. There's definitely a lot of cover in between you all. That's part of why I describe it going off of the stonework. But, I mean, you have a shot.
Okay. I'll take a shot at the first one that I see there with a light crossbow that I have.
A 17 will miss.
Okay. Well, in that case, that's all I could do.
And then it will go to Burke.
Burke's going to really athletically leap across the stream and get in front of Gisela.
Oh, yeah, shit. Let me have a dex check from Guy, and then a dex from you there, Burke.
Okay.
All right, yeah, those are good.
So I've leapt across in hopes that there was somebody for me to attack, but I guess I see him up there. Let me see if I can still reach.
Yeah, I think you would have 5 more feet of movement where you're presently at.
All right, I'm going to hunker down behind my shield. I guess I'm taking up the whole corridor at this point.
By hunker down, is that another dodge action?
Yes. Dodge, please.
And then it will go to Gazella.
Yes, I'm gonna move up here a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and shoot Ray of Frost at the first goblin.
Spell attack from you, and it will still have defense from the 24 will definitely hit past all of the other bullshittery. You can see as like the entire left side of his body seems to kind of like freeze into like a glass-like ice. As it. Oh wait a second, Ray of Frost is not cold damage. My bad. No, yeah, Ray of Frost actually is the cold damage. So you see as the left side of his body starts to freeze as it like blasts into him, like as he's like aimed up behind his bow. And you just see as like the cold seems to just turn like the entire side of his body into a glass-like substance. He clearly looks absolutely injured by this spell attack. Anything else from Gisela?
Nope, that will be the end of my turn.
Let's see. Let me have a perception check from Gisela and Guy. Oh wait, Guy, I do not have Goblin under your languages.
Yeah, you told me to change it like when I first showed it to you because Loxodon or whatever wasn't something common. I tried to, but I couldn't change it. Instead I had it reflected on the Roll20 character sheet though.
Yeah, it was under your racial one, but I got it switched over. So you two hear as there is a yelling for "Do it now." And again, Burke, you would kind of hear like a screechy sound that doesn't seem clear.
And there's no talking outside of your turn, right?
Yep, at present it is specifically, this is like, for what it's worth, you guys can kind of gather that this goblin is the specific goblin that seems to be giving more orders than not. But yeah, it's definitely particular to his actual turn.
Okay.
He is going to take a shot at somebody at disadvantage, or not disadvantage, but with cover. So, where's it down? So he's going to shoot, yeah, it is disadvantage. He's going to shoot at Burke, probably fishing for a double crit, basically. An 11 is going to miss. Goblin's going to peek out from the side. He's going to take a shot at Gisela, or an 11, or an 8, rather, will miss. And another one is going to take a shot at Guy. Is going to crit for 5 piercing damage, and please make a Constitution check, or a Constitution saving throw for concentration. Maintain your concentration. And about at the same moment that this goblin is taking his shot, I am going to need everyone make a dexterity saving throw, except for Burke is probably the one person. Yastin, you can make a dexterity saving throw with advantage. And Edrin, everybody is good as there is a rush of water that starts to slam down the corridor, and as you brace yourselves, this tiny little stream quickly becomes a few feet deep as again this wall of water that they describe starts to rush down the cave. And another goblin is going to take a shot at Gazella. Gazella plus 5 AC. I believe a 13 will miss. And it will go to Justin.
My AC is only 10, hun.
Well, no, there's the like wall in between. So you had like a plus 5 for the cover between you. So you should have been at that increased. Most of the time, when you guys are taking shots where something in cover, it's the cover in between more than that something is like choosing to be behind cover. So usually cover goes both ways. There are a few times when something is taking advantage of something that is like its cover that you don't really get. In particular, like the actual goblin hide that they were behind, it's designed like this whole like area of greenery is they grew it in particular to protect themselves while they were basically watching things that might approach their little hide here, their hideout. After this round of initiative, though, we're gonna take a break because I have got to run away for a moment.
Okay.
So Justin's gonna move up. Would this be another dexterity check? Is he in the stream?
No, not in particular. There is like a side of this that is. Wow, shit. I guess no. You guys all passed those like actual rolls for the flood with flying covers, but like the east side of this is clearly designed as like a walkway beside the stream.
Okay. All right. So he's going to shoot an arrow at this goblin up ahead of him to the north.
Oh, my bad. That guy's going to be peeked behind again. I just forgot to move him back. You can take a shot with cover on him though.
Okay.
That's me just getting distracted. I don't mean to.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
16 will not be enough. Fuck it. He's an evil motherfucker. Roll damage for that. He's sitting over there cackling at you all while you get flooded.
Okay.
That will kill him.
So I don't think there would be sneak damage. So 7 is enough.
Yep.
Okay. Then he'll end his turn there.
And it will go to Edrin.
I'm gonna move up for a bit, like here. Maybe a little bit further. There.
When you get up to there, a arrow is going to fly out from above. With plus 3 AC, I believe a 13 will miss.
It will miss. I don't think I can really aim at that guy behind there.
I'm going to throw it out there. You probably have a chance to see that creature, but cannot because you do not have light.
Ah, right. That's true.
And that's one of the things where right now you guys are depending on Guy's light. And it is limiting on where he projects it and how far it projects for.
Let's see. I have a light spell too, right? Or is it dancing lights?
Dancing lights is really nice because you can create multiple lights and you can move them, I believe, as a bonus action.
Yeah, that's true. But they only last up to a minute.
It's still a cantrip, though. All that is just sinking a action every once in a while into keeping light or bound around.
Let's see, how many can I do? 4 light sources, okay.
Just a quick question here. So technically, because these turns are indicative of just like 6 seconds, that'll be 10 turns of light, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dancing lights is for 10 turns. It's like 100 for your light spell.
Well, okay, then I'm gonna do a dancing lights.
Yeah, like right now you guys are 18 seconds into this combat.
Yeah, we're fast.
Right.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's deceptive about how slow the game gets the moment initiative is started, and that's part of what is weird about the conversation, because combat is slow enough, but if you also have time to plot and plan, it gets even slower because there's about like 1,000,000 seconds of conversation for each second of actual action. But if you decide to cast dancing lights, and this is for future things, I have lights created. They are dancing lights under the summons inside of spells. I think it's nested characters, spells, summons, and you can find the dancing lights. Oh, it's not set it for you to control them yet. Let me actually add that. Now you should be able to see that. My bad.
So how do I use this exactly? Do I just drag it from over there, or?
Oh yeah, if you're ready to actually cast dancing lights, you just drag the token from the right side, and you'll drop it on the screen. You should have to drop it somewhere that you can at present see, because you need to be able to cast it somewhere that you.
Yeah, and I could. Let's see. I just gotta read it. I think it was up to 4 different dancing lights.
Yeah, that's correct. 4 different dancing lights. So you can probably see, I think, the corridor all the way up to the west of you at present.
Yep, I can.
I mean, I'm just going to drop these for a potential. Oh, of course, they changed dynamic lighting, so I've got to reset the token as well. Actually, that might have done it because I was on the GM layer. Do you see that and see light emanating from like the northeast?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so like that can be one of them, and that's basically all you would do is you're able to drag them to where you can see, and that is essentially the part of casting them, and you can drop 4 of those.
Okay, so just drag and drop.
Yeah, so if you want to put them like that, you have to basically have an intermediary because you can cast them. They have to stay within 20 feet of each other.
Oh, 20 feet. Okay, I see. Sorry.
So, like, if you have one on top of Gisela, yeah, that would kind of be the variable that would be the thing, is like to have them bead across that area. You could have the one where it's at, the one on top of Gisela, and then the one where you originally were casting it.
Okay, now I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the geometry is weird with how things play off in D&D. Diagonals are essentially free. I might one day switch to every other diagonal is 10 feet, but at present it's essentially free movement across diagonals. There's no like Pythagorean theorem inside of D&D.
Okay, I have 4 dancing lights and I am done.
And it will go to Guy.
All right then. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with Edrin here. So I'm gonna move up ahead of him. Gonna spot 2 goblins. I'm gonna make an attack for the one closest to me.
He'll have cover from the actual height above, but you can certainly make an attack.
Oh, he's above me. In that case, the one to the
Yeah, my
right.
bad. I didn't really describe this. You guys are inside of this actual corridor, walking up the cave, and there's that like path to the east side of the cave, but they're running around this actual bridge that covers the cave almost 10 feet above you all. So the goblins that have been peeking out from above this area are shooting down at you from a pathway that seems to cross the main entry of the cave.
Ah, I see.
That's one thing that's really frustrating about using battle maps is how quickly I stop describing stuff because there's a map and I assume that you can just look at it and you will ask questions versus playing Theater of the Mind. I spend so much time describing stuff that I like Theater of the Mind because it's descriptions that like paint the picture rather than like assuming, oh, I've got it in front of them. I don't want to waste their time describing, but that's like a clutch thing to remember to describe.
Okie doke. Would applying guidance to myself kind of help with improving the odds of hitting the goblin?
I believe guidance is for checks, and you would need bless in order to help your odds of an attack.
Right on. So in that case, how many spell slots would I have here at level 2, just so that I understand?
I believe you've got 2, maybe 3. Let me cycle over. You have 3 first level slots.
And bless lasts for a minute, and I could target up to 3 creatures, right? So in that case, I'll go ahead and target myself with bless, Edrin with bless, and Gisela with bless.
Thank you.
Yes, very much.
Then can I cast a spell and then shoot, or is a spell my thing?
Bless is an action, so you've got no shot right now.
Okay. In that case, I'll see if I could move around a little bit.
I'm just gonna move the other dancing light there, so Gisela has access to her character as well. I don't think it changes anything having it in that position. So as you finish up your movement, we'll progress to Burke.
Wait, hang on. I have a question. Can I hide under the bridge there? Is that something I could do? Take cover under the bridge?
You can take cover under the bridge, but Yastin in particular has a skill that lets him use the hide action as a bonus action. By casting a spell, you can't officially hide.
I see. So what can I like? Is evasion also a part of that?
Evasion is a very particular thing that is like a feature of, again, like rogue classes. But essentially, all you can do is move to a position where there is stuff in between you and potential enemies. You can't actually do anything that makes you more or less difficult to hit because they are essentially actions.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll stick here.
All right, Burke's gonna keep barreling up this tunnel, chasing the goblins that have been shooting at him and Gisela. Not so aware what's going on behind, but really appreciative that there's some light.
So as you go to run up that area, it is like a scree field of different levels of rocks, like piled into almost like two different plateaus. And I am going to need you to make a dexterity saving throw. So as you like start to crawl up the first bit of rocks, it is going to crash down as you climb up it, and you will take 5 bludgeoning damage. You're going to fall prone. So if that was 5 feet, it'll basically cost you, you'd be up to 20 feet to stand up at this point, but you've fallen prone as these stones crash down below you.
Yeah, so befuddled, I think I'll end my turn there.
But you'll
And
stand
take
up
like a cover up with a. Yeah, I could stand up and then take
and
a dodge.
take the dodge again? Alright, word.
Yeah, behind my. I mean, when I say hunker down behind my shield, I'm thinking I'm kneeling or crouched behind my shield, so people can fire over my head.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get you that shield master feat, because clearly you are the one. A goblin is going to appear above Burke. I don't believe anybody is holding an action there. This will probably be like +2 AC as he shoots down at you, but it will still be disadvantaged. A 10 will miss.
Indeed.
And it will go to Gisela.
Okay. Sorry, I have my push to talk as control. I just like scrolled out of my screen by accident. My bad. All right. So
Oh, I've never found a good push to talk button.
Neither have I. I'm gonna move over there. That's now that I can see because of the dim light or membering or whatever. Can I move? I'm gonna move over that way. I'm assuming that leads to there, right?
Like down and into the cave to the east, or you're just moving to the east?
Well, if I move to over here, would that kind of lead up over here? I mean, if I'm allowed to even ask that.
I don't think you've explored in that direction enough to actually know. You know that there is a cave that goes to the east, but I don't think you spent any time to really look there because it was already the heat of battle when you moved up to where you're at.
True. All right. Well, I'm going to explore over there and move.
So just a dex check again. It's essentially a not 1.
All right. I'll stay in the water for a second and then I'll check.
Yep, you're golden. Make a perception for me as you move off in that direction. And this would again be not going to drag you across to another room, so this will be meta knowledge for everyone to know. But as you move off into that direction, you get a sense of 3 goblins standing in that next room over through like almost like a garbage heap of a cave. And they're again, you fucking speak Goblin, so they're sitting there plotting and planning. And you basically would hear them kind of saying to each other, "Hold here. We will be the last defense for Clark."
Okay. Since I cannot see into the room yet, this is something I just hear, correct?
It's mostly here, but you do like hear bits of their actual movement. And from where you're at, you can see the like cracks in the cave as this almost, it looks like a garbage heap of, again, like scree and stone that's kind of falling out of, I got a cough, sorry, that's like falling out of this crack above you. It's not that you can't specifically see, but I just don't have them revealed yet. They just roll extremely low for stealth. So I'm not sure. I feel like you can probably see 2, maybe 3 of them, but you basically, as you walk up and take a moment to listen for them, you hear them actually conversing. And from what it's worth, you can pretty well gather that they are holding off in, that's like a final area they are holding, and it would seem Let me have a intelligence from you. Just an intelligence check. And that's all you've got.
I'd be awful dumb right now. I'm concentrating too hard. I'll just say that. Okay. So, if applicable, if I have a general idea of where I can shoot to attack, all right, I will shoot Ray of Frost at that particular goblin.
He's definitely behind a heavy cover. 17 is going to miss.
Okay, so I will, let's see, he's already behind some cover, so I'm just gonna move a little bit to maybe behind a little bit more cover if that's applicable right here, and then I will end my turn.
And it will go to a goblin.
Oh, before I end my turn, is it okay if I say something to the party if anyone can still hear me from over here?
Yeah, let me have perception checks from Burke, Edrin, and Guy. So I would say Burke and Yastin would be able to hear what you're able to say here. You have 6 seconds.
Keep a lookout, be steady on your feet. I think these goblins can control the water flow in here. That's why the water got deeper.
You were cut out about steady on your feet.
Sorry. I believe the goblins can
No, my bad.
The flow of water.
I mean that you would have lost time at steady on your feet. That's where, like, you would stop at that point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you had push to talk the whole time. I meant to stop you at that point. So you would kind of be...
Okay.
I think you said, like, basically, be calm, keep an eye on the goblins have a control of the water. Be steady on your feet. Like, that's kind of what I think you would have gotten out.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that works. Thank you. And I will put my stopwatch on next time so I can time myself talking.
Well, as well, one of the other things is I guess realistically, you would have also been saying that as you were walking away. So I feel like for what it's worth, it's not actually that bad for Guy and Edrin to at least get a sense of what you were saying as well. So
that sounds totally fair. I meant to do that before I started though, because I know it's supposed to be very quick. So sorry about that. And passing now my turn to the goblin's turn. Thank you again, hun.
No, yeah, conversations inside of combat is one of my favorite things because I mean, I am terrible at doing it myself, but it's absolutely hilarious as you try to actually plot and plan while you're fighting and you're talking next to enemies and they're having conversations that they hope you don't understand next to enemies. There's a lot of funny shit that comes from doing it like this, but it's definitely an acquired skill over time as well.
That is very true. When I need to learn, I have friends and stuff that are really lenient on the talking rule, and so it helps me to like do something I'm not used to. So.
Yeah, and I've tried other combat styles where you basically take like a minute at the top of the initiative every turn, and you have like a flat, like actual like real life timer for a minute for everybody to plot and plan, and then you go through combat for that initiative in like a level of silence. I just don't feel like it's as realistic, and it is of the utmost importance when people are trying to surrender, because it is hilarious how often you try to get somebody to surrender and then somebody on your team kills them before they have a chance to answer.
Oh, brutal.
And that's like straight up why I do it, because of how important it puts those choices where somebody's like, yeah, they're not getting a chance. I put an arrow through his eye. So a goblin is going to pop out from the east. And he is going to take aim at Yastin. And he is going to fire an arrow. This be +2 AC. 12 should miss.
Yep, that'll miss.
One is going to pop out and take aim at Guy. 18 to hit for 3 piercing.
So do I take 3 damage then?
I believe 18 will hit, so yes.
Okay.
Another goblin is going to round the hill above Burke. Going to take a shot at +2 AC with disadvantage.
Wait, I have a question. So,
yes.
How does Bless play into damage?
I believe Bless is for attack and saving throws, so it does not do anything for your damage.
Okay, just wondering.
Bring it on, goblins.
Yeah, sadly he just critted, but he's going to take a 19, so I think it's going to miss you. Yeah, Bless doesn't do anything for the damage. Oh, 19 is your armor class? Word. So he is going to do 4 piercing damage to you. Oh, wait, no. Is 19 your armor class with the, I think I said +2 for AC? Like for how he's shooting through the cave?
No, it's 19.
Yeah, so you'd be at 21. Yeah. Yep, so he's going to miss. He had a 24 and a 19. It really is, he's got to roll a crit with any sort of like buff to it, basically. Or rather, he's got to roll a double crit.
Cool.
So if it's not clear by now, you guys have gotten the ire of all of the goblins in this place. Another is going to take a shot at Edrin. A 22 should hit for 6 piercing damage.
Yeah, that hits and that hurts.
Another one plus 2 AC with disadvantage is a 15 going to miss.
On me again.
No, my bad. That was against Burke again. It's on like that west side.
Okay.
Burke arrow number 6 that's bounced off of him.
Oh yeah, that's like, I mean, well, you don't really know yet, but there's been plenty of goblins that seem to be trafficking past that hole.
Does that bring it to me?
One last goblin is going to take aim at Edrin again. 19 to hit for 5 piercing.
Well, damn.
And then that will be to Justin.
All right, so Justin's gonna call out to the group, just like regroup, sort of like beckoning them, trying to get them back towards, not so spread out, especially given we've got limited light sources. And he's going, so he'll move up and he'll take aim at this goblin up above him across the stream.
He'll have a little bit of cover on you, but make your shot. 15 will hit.
Nice.
And it will leave him, what are you shooting, a short bow? You'll place an arrow, basically through his shooting arm as he's aiming a bow down. I think he was shooting a guy. But you almost sink an arrow through his actual firing arm. And it definitely seems to be a quite severe injury as he's aiming down at your friend.
Okay, and then he's going to, after firing that arrow, maybe try and retreat back towards where he heard Gisela call out. But considering he won't be able to see much if he steps out of the light, he'll just stop. He'll stop right there, and if he can, attempt to hide.
Definitely much more of a strained area to hide as you are in a stone corridor. But you feel stealthy.
Yeah, I mean, if it's ever a case where there's just nowhere to hide, you can just tell me that, and he'll just, Yeah.
Well, it's more that you are likely able to hide from creatures that don't have a direct line of sight to where you are. It's the kind of thing where you're almost ducked up against a wall to make yourself less visible, than that you think if something were looking down the corridor, you would actually be hidden.
If I don't move, he can't see me. Okay, so that'll be it for him. For Justin.
You see as a goblin steps out from the western end of the bridge, and as he starts to aim down towards Edrin, you see at the last moment where he raises his bow and he releases at Justin, and he's going to plink off of the wall, kind of clearly getting distracted as he spotted you at the last moment, and it will go to Edrin.
Well, thank God for spotting Justin. I'm gonna do a frostbite at the one up, just the one next to the dead goblin.
Northwest of you?
Yeah, that one.
I believe you said your DC was 13. He rolled a 7, so roll damage. Oh, so close. You kind of follow the arrow from Justin into this goblin, and while it appears that he's frozen in place, you've not seen anything that gives you a clear sign that it is dead, but the creature seems to be quite injured at this point, as a arrow is pierced through its forward arm, its left arm, and you seem to freeze the creature as it holds its bow at ready. And I believe Frostbite makes it disadvantage on its next attack.
Yeah, that's right.
And is that everything from Edrin?
No, I'm gonna move back a little bit. Just maybe that.
And it will go to Guy.
Okay. At this point, I'm gonna move next to Edrin, right there. I'm gonna cast a spell on him. Wait, which one was the touch spell? Was it
Are you looking to heal him?
Yeah, exactly. There's Cure Wounds, and
all right. Let me just do one of my kind of classic rants on healing in D&D. You can never out-heal damage, but somebody who is down and unconscious, they always get back up with 1 hit point. So healing is great, but in the long run, the most important thing for action economy is that you all are taking 5 actions per turn. So among the best ways to keep people quote-unquote healed is to remove other creatures that are hostile from the action economy. Right now, I think I have 9 goblins in the battle, and you have a goblin who is clearly injured above you. It is probably a better move to kill the goblin that is there, and then if somebody ever gets injured and goes down, heal them so they can get back up and continue to fight. If you heal him now, you're probably the one person who can quote-unquote potentially out-heal damage, but it is not going to change the action economy. And usually in D&D 5th edition, whoever takes the most actions on a side of combat is the one that is going to win that combat.
Okay. Quick question though. That one injured goblin. So he's disabled, right? Can he do anything? I mean, he can't shoot a bow anymore, and he's pretty far away.
He's not strictly speaking disabled. That's just how I describe the damage.
Oh, okay. Okay. In that case, could I take a shot at him?
You most certainly can.
Sweet.
But I believe, as you were going to ask as well, Cure Wounds is touch, and Healing Word is, I think, 30 feet or 60 feet. But Healing Word is the one that's at a distance.
Like another question. So like, let's say somebody does go down, and I use the touch spell. Would that bring them up with more than 1 hit point at that time?
Yeah, essentially, like right now, if Edrin got hit, if he got hit with 16 points of damage, it would basically take him to 0 hit points. If he got hit with 17 points of damage, he would die outright, and he would need actually resurrected. That is the only thing that really matters about keeping people healed, is that when you take double, like when you take your entire max hit points beyond 0, that's when you die. Otherwise, whether he gets hit with 3 hit points or he gets hit with 16, he just goes down and he's just at 0 hit points taking death saving throws. Any amount of healing brings him up. And that's why healing is so much more powerful when you're down than just bringing him up. So if you healed him for 6 right now, that 6 hit points might put him at 9, but if he took 9, he would still go down to 0. He would have to take 23 to die outright. So it would matter as far as dying outright goes, but in the long run, there's only a slight 20. I feel like I did the math wrong there. But in the long run, there's just a slight difference between health when you have any at all and what kills you. But if you don't die outright, you just go to 0 once you take the damage.
Okie doke. I mean that makes sense. Kind of hit it at the back end of that. Okay, so I decided to shoot that injured goblin to see if I could finish him off. I think you said.
Yeah, 9 will miss.
Okay. As I'm retreating though, can I overtake my friends, or I don't want to go on the river, but you know I'm trying to escape.
I feel like you've moved 5 feet to where you're at, and it would take 20 to get to Jastin, so you would be at 30 on the south end of Jastin. And just to throw it out there, even with Bless, I think you guys are pretty well aware of a rough idea of their AC is at 13. Even with Bless, you can't actually hit it with the cover that it has. But I think with an actual attack, that's where you could have used Bless, but it's just not enough with cover, with a 9.
Okay. That makes sense.
But essentially, like with the cover that it has 15 AC.
So is it possible for me to walk on the river part? I might be risking myself to like another flood, but I'll be closer to like right next to Jaster. Can I do that?
Well, you guys all know that the flood filled this entire area, including the spot where you're walking on. Anybody within 10 feet of the flood had to make the save for it. It splashes beyond the actual area of the stream. The stream is just the fail state of not rolling a 1 while you cross it.
Okay, so could I just pop in right here?
Yeah, for what it's worth, I think you started right there?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wait, no, I think you were up here. I don't think it really matters. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, so I think you would have 5 more feet where you're at right there. Like, you could move out of the stream.
Ah, cool.
Or 1 more south.
Right here.
Yep. Either
I'll
of those.
right there, just because like if somebody moves through me, that'll be rough terrain, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, so right here's fine.
And it will go to a little goblin. It's going to run past and take another disadvantage +2 AC shot at Burke. It is going to miss, and it will go to Burke.
Knowing that there's these goblins that are like 10 feet away, Burke's going to keep scrambling up this hill because it'll just, open up a line for them to shoot his companions. So we're going to try to get to the top of the hill.
Make another dexterity saving throw.
There's a lot of laughing in advance.
Well, I felt like I kind of gave you a warning where I was like, and you feel safe climbing up the next layer? And you did. You felt safe enough. It's going to do 6 more damage to you, bludgeoning, as you climb up, and the second layer crumbles out below your feet as well. And you have a pretty good sense that these goblins had this area set up, so anybody weighing much more than a tiny little creature that they are would crash down the floor beneath them.
All right, so I scrambled, I fell, I still have an action, right?
Yeah, you would go prone again, so you pretty much have 5 or 10 movement, but you still have your action.
All right, well, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on myself.
The crazy shitstorm of that trap is that if you actually go into this thing at level 1, I've never seen somebody not go this way, and it pretty much is like guaranteed death for a level 1.
All right, so that's my turn.
And it will go to Gisela.
I will take another shot at the 2 goblins within my line of sight. I didn't mean to roll twice. Sorry about that.
You can roll damage for the first one. It will hit. The goblin will kind of like shatter as the frost damage just like enters through its body, and it seems to consume it from the inside out and almost explode to the floor.
This is still an unsettling sight to me. I kind of, ooh. And then perhaps I can feel bad. And then that being all I can do, knowing there's another enemy in the room, I'll just stay here. And that'll be the end of my turn.
Because there wasn't enough goblins in initiative, you had to make sure to bring in the ones that were on reserve.
Damn.
I just wanted to make sure that you actually made sure to bring them into combat before I let you know that. That was what the intelligence check was for, was to see if you realized what you were doing by attacking them.
Yeah, no, I'd be all the dumb at that point. My roll was so bad. Well, with any luck, I can maybe snap them off one at a time before the rest of the party has to deal with them.
Taking a shot at Edrin, a 15 to hit for 8 piercing.
Well, I'm down.
Taking a shot at Guy, 16 to hit for 7 piercing.
Ouch.
Stepping over back to Burke, hearing like the crash down, hoping to find a prone opponent to kill. Goblin's going to take a shot for 21 to hit for 4 piercing at Burke.
Ouch.
And you're going to hear like a little bit of like a screeching of voices above as he kind of runs back off towards the north. Taking a shot at Guy with +2 AC. 15 should miss.
Oh, thank goodness.
Another will shoot down at Burke. It will like clank off of the wall beside you. One more at Guy. +2 AC, but a 21 for 7 piercing. And it will go to Justin. You've just seen quite a few goblins taking shots across your friends. 2 of them sinking into your friends beside you. They fall to the floor.
Yeah, so Justin's going to call for a retreat. Seeing the goblin that just dropped Guy, he's going to shoot at it. The one just below this dead goblin here.
24 will hit. You can have sneak attack because he was hidden, so it kills him anyways. Which is one of the things I love about rogues when they hide, is when you've got weak friends around you and the rogue is hidden and the creatures cannot see you, and it's like, yep, I guess I gotta shoot at the 2 weak people. But you will get your sneak attack as you pierce through his face, and he drops to the ground completely unexpecting, as he saw nobody left in the corridor alive.
Nice.
I was wondering why none of them were shooting at me.
Yeah, I rolled like, I think a 1 and a 7 trying to see you for each of those goblins that kind of shot down those 2. But it's just one of those hilarious things, like, about how, like, rogues are such a clutch aspect of a party, but there's tiny little things about them that are kind of like a fuck you as well to everybody else.
All right, so he's called for retreat. He's managed to get one of the goblins. He's going to just can he drag Edrin down with him, and I'm not sure how much. I can't remember how much movement that takes. If that's like ×3 or ×2.
It halves your movement, but it also normally takes an action because you are essentially grappling somebody to drag them. So
Okay,
with
okay.
taking the shot, I would say no at present.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, he's gonna move down. Sees Gisela, and he can't spot anything within that sort of room to the right, I guess.
I don't believe you would have any light source in that direction.
So once Guy goes unconscious, do we lose that light?
I don't believe there
Or
is.
that-
Well, you guys lose bless, but I don't believe there is any concentration. So his candle is still lit up. But honestly, I feel like part of the problem is once he starts to do other things, he's probably not holding the candle. Just a side note on how I play a cleric with light, I tend to light up my shield. But something that you are always holding is usually a pretty good idea for what you are lighting up. It's just that question of, do you plan to throw your light source, or do you plan to be the beacon?
Yeah, I was gonna throw it, but then I didn't realize that you can only do it once or for one item. You know.
Yeah, that's part of why I didn't say it at first, because I don't want to just tell people how to play. I like the creativity of how people choose to play things. But now that it's like in hindsight, I would say part of what you have to decide is what you plan to do with it and how you want to utilize it. But yeah, you have some semblance of light, and I feel like you would almost have some light going through that crack, but it really is meant to be a tiny crack. Even beyond the idea of, like, I was contemplating with how it played out with Gisela attacking through it, of having a plus AC and disadvantage. But essentially it's a tiny crack as is, but it is vaguely there, and you see some signs at best, but I would say it's not like just that you would immediately notice that it's there until your attention is called to it.
Okay. So he's going to maybe he'll just sort of stick where he is and once more try to hide, sort of flatten himself against the corridor wall.
You once again feel stealthy as you hide up against the wall. It's such a comforting feeling to just believe that you melted into the wall and nothing could possibly see you.
That's why I like playing Druid. I'm referencing specifically the Meld in the Stone spell.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Love that spell.
And it will go to Edrin for... Oh wait, I'm gonna roll this. Yes, and you would see as he coughs from the floor.
Okay, I'm sorry. I may have my mic might or my Discord minute. Did the goblin before Edrin do anything? I may have missed it.
For what it is, he seems to be standing on the bridge, kind of looking down in this area. But that's about it at present.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it cut out and I missed something, so I just wanted to check. Okay.
No, I rolled another one to see you. And it will go to Guy, and I'm going to roll that one as well. Goblin will kind of move up above Burke. He's going to take a shot at you with a 23 to hit for 4 piercing. Oh, and you know what, Gazella, you would have heard, I don't know, a goblin on 6 actually kind of pleading with another creature, essentially along the lines of, it was almost a whisper from where you're at, but we should get into this fight. They're attacking us already. Let's go. And you hear something similar again coming from the east there, as these goblins seem to be pleading with somebody who you could gather pretty quickly is their leader. And it will go to Burke.
All right, Burke is ready to run away now. So I'm going to move down to the bottom.
Yeah, there's no layers left where you're at. It's pretty much just you can move without any problem there. And then it's again like a non-1 as you cross the water.
Okay, well, I also want to cast Healing Word on Edrin. I think I'll do that first. And then the rest of my movement will put me there.
Any other action?
No, that's everything I can do, I think. Did that get Edrin up?
Oh yeah, Edrin would definitely get 4 healing, so he would be he'd be prone on the ground, but he has consciousness. He regains consciousness. It was more a question of if you had essentially like a cantrip or something that you wanted to use.
I thought I could just cast. I guess I can bonus action a cantrip. Is that right?
No. Healing Word is a bonus action. So you've not used an actual action in what you've done, but you can't use another spell. So You could either while
I'll do
you
that.
walk by, you could spare the dying on Guy, or you could Sacred Flame while you walked past and saw like the goblin. Oh shit! I would have had a goblin actually attack you. My bad.
I didn't see a goblin because you didn't have one attack me. So I would spare the dying if I could. I didn't realize I could do a cantrip and cast a spell in the same
Yeah. So
turn.
as you pop out of that little western corridor, you would pretty quickly. Oh shit! You actually would have brought up Edrin before you even popped out, wouldn't you? Kind of as soon as you saw him. See where
Yeah,
this
before I
goes.
slid down the hill, I was going to do it.
Yeah,
So
so
I
if
moved
the
back to
moment
the
you
water.
see him, it's going to actually go at Edrin, but I believe an 11 would still miss Edrin, because I don't think mage armor would fall. So the arrow will kind of like plink off of his armor as it just like flies off into the corridor. But otherwise everything kind of goes as you go there. But you would see pretty clearly and hear the plink of the arrow that there is a goblin on the east side of the bridge that you could either Sacred Flame, or while you walk past Guy, you could spare the dying on him.
I'm going to spare the dying on Guy.
So as you cast Spare the Dying on him, you would have a sense that he was one step closer towards death door as you save his life and steady him in his unconsciousness. So we will go to the top of the order. Or you can finish your movement, but I think that's
I think that's it. That's 30 feet.
taking a shot at Edrin on the ground. Oh, this is disadvantage too. A 6 will miss. And it will go to Gazella.
Alright, I'm gonna stick with Ray of Frost for now. That does not hit.
Are you just like basically moving to try to get a sight and then moving backward? At present, you have no sight.
That is. I am sorry. Like I said, my son was asking me a question. I apologize. So yes, I would like to do that.
Yeah, I think you would still be able to get a sight where they're at. As you kind of like duck to the base there, you do see a massive wolf and an extremely large, hairy-looking goblin that are like right behind the two goblins that you've kind of tracked into that easterly direction. And it will go off to the goblins.
Can I say something to Burke before my turn ends?
You most certainly can.
I say Gazella turns to Burke and explains what I just saw, and be on your guard. Pass it along to anybody you can.
Can you help me understand what you just saw? Because I kind of didn't understand what you guys were
No
talking
problem.
about.
Sorry. I saw a really large wolf, a very huge hairy goblin, or a larger than goblin size hairy goblin, and then another goblin, at least one other goblin.
And you saw them out to the east around the corner
Yes.
where the battle was? Okay, thanks.
Yeah, as she draws your attention to it,
Over
there's a
this
crack
direction.
in the wall to the east, and you can see that the like scree and like rocks that are falling out of that area. It's almost like a trash like disposal where they seem to drop refuse to where they used to keep the wolves.
Ah, I didn't understand that. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, I feel like she just crushed like a 22 or something for the perception check when she first looked into that area to spot it, because it's not meant to be something that you just like catch.
Yeah, that changes everything.
Goblin is going to take a shot at Guy on the ground with disadvantage. A 13 will miss. I think I just killed a goblin falling down that scree field.
Good.
Nice.
Maybe I'll step on him on the way back up.
Going over there for blood. They're like, yeah, let's kill this motherfucker. No. Taking a shot at Guy at disadvantage. A 12 will miss. I believe Edrin is still on the ground, so disadvantage shot at him will plink off of the wall, and it will go to Justin. You now currently see a goblin to the west, having just shot at Edrin. Two goblins down on the lower level that have just shot at both Edrin and Guy, and then one standing over the bridge. And that's probably what you have a sight of for now. I don't know what you can actually see, but that's at least like a little recap of what the last few seconds have brought.
Yeah, so Jackson's going to call again for a retreat. Can he tell that the one goblin is injured versus the other two?
Anything that you can see the aura of, that aura definitely tells you enough about their injuries. I certainly lose track over time as they kind of shift around, like how I described any given injury about them. But I feel like the goblin that you can probably see is, I want to say, Burke lit him up. I think it was Burke who got an attack off on it.
Okay, so he's going to, seeing a couple different options, he's going to try to finish off the one that's already hurt.
Yeah, so if it's the one on the northwest there, it definitely has cover, but you can certainly take an attack on it.
Oh, the other two to his north, if they don't have cover, he'll probably try and take the easier shot.
Yeah, I think the one that you would have no cover on would be the one that's directly to the north of you.
Okay, so like that one, I think he'll shoot at that one.
25 will hit. Slight issue, I didn't actually pay attention if that one was able to spot you. Try to scroll back a little bit, I guess. Actually, I'm just gonna roll a die to see. Yeah, that'll do a little bit more damage to it as you sink an arrow, like through its, the top of its shoulder on its left arm.
All right, so considering where, again, having called for a retreat and seeing that he wasn't able to actually drop that goblin and thinking that they're pretty well outnumbered, he's going to sort of head back down, maybe try and keep maybe keeping Burke to his right, and then he'll try and again sort of just kind of conceal himself as best he can given what's around him. Big part of him wants to just flee out of the cavern, but not quite going to leave everyone behind yet.
Everybody watches as Justin drops a hand in front of his face and almost disappears from your sight. Classic object permanence is what I was going for with your little kid. Goblin from above is going to take a shot down into Edrin. 22 will hit for 5 piercing damage. As you go down a second time, you will take 1 level of exhaustion from being knocked down 2 times in a row. Another goblin will fall from on top of the... Oh, nobody's there to see that. Never mind.
Oh, we can hear it. You could tell us about it.
Yeah, for what it's worth, you all would hear a pretty horrendous crack. Kind of the type of thing where you're sitting in the other room and you hear somebody fall and crack their skull against the ground. It's not a pleasant feeling or a sound to hear, but I believe in the present situation it probably sounds like gold.
Burke smiles at that for sure.
Everybody would hear a massive angry roar from the east side of the cavern. Clearly somebody is absolutely furious. Let's see, Guy is spare the dying where he's at. You would hear a bit of avalanche from the north and the west, and then a little bit of silence from that area, and then on to Burke.
Burke says, they're behind us, to Justin, and then he's gonna spare the dying on Edrin.
As you touch Edrin and steady his life force, you feel the sense that he was is extremely close to death, and has taken many steps through death's door.
And then with the rest of my...
And just to put it into context, you would have known when you steadied Guy that Guy had failed 1 death saving throw, and you would know at present that Edrin had failed 2. I just rolled a 1 for Edrin's death saving throw.
Well, that was timely then. And now I'm gonna run away because, yeah, I think that's what Burke's doing. So he's gonna run just outside the cave. Actually, might be able to run an extra square further. Not run, but just move. I think that's 30 feet. And is a cantrip a bonus action every time? No. Right?
No. Healing Word is a bonus action. So if you cast a spell as a bonus action, you can cast a cantrip using your action.
Well, I used Spare the Dying, which is an action. So it's the action and the move, and then I'm done. Just outside the cave. Hoping people will come stand behind my shield.
And to Gisela. Are you currently there, Gisela?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I was doing something with my son.
Oh, all good.
Okay, I apologize. So were we planning on sticking it out or retreating? I see we have a couple people down now, and I believe Guy failed his first death saving throw.
None of you actually know the state of their death saving throws. I was passing on the information to Burke as he actually healed them with Spare the Dying, giving him a sense of where they are at, just because he was basically administering like a holy heal of sorts, and gains that extra bit of knowledge. But I believe the only things that you all have talked about in the last 6 or 12 seconds have been to flee, that it is time to make your escape. So at present, I have a feeling that you would understand that as the general consensus of the group, and certainly seeing Guy's body lying in the stream, you would have a trepidatious feel about continuing this battle at present.
I think Gisela was closest to hearing the angry roar from the crack in the wall.
Oh yeah, everybody would have heard that roar as well, like echoing through the actual cave, not just through the crack. It was definitely magnified through all of the rock surfaces.
Alright, I'm going to make my way over here to and take Guy or Justin and try to drag one of them with me out of the cave.
So Justin's up. It's just Guy is down.
Yeah, so if you
okay.
grab Guy's body right now, you can move one more step to the south. Just make a dexterity check for me as you step into the stream. Yeah, so if you grab Guy's body, you can drag him 5 feet, basically. The two of you can each move a single space, like that.
Okie dokie. Alright, so yeah, that'll probably end my turn, I think. Would that count as my action, dragging him?
Yeah, to pick him up like is a grapple, is essentially like using a grapple action, which is essentially an attack action.
Okay.
As the first goblin is going to move up to Edrin, and as he picks up his body, he will say, "Now is the time for you all to join us for dinner or die." And that's where we will stop things.